Welcome back to Practically Creative. I'm Melissa. This is day 11 of organizing our space. Today we're going to go over something that's not working for me. I'm going to bring you down here to the desktop and I'll talk you through So yesterday I showed you that I normally store my patterns in a notebook. What I've been doing with some of the other stuff that doesn't really fit in the notebook is I've been storing them in Ziploc bags. And while this storage method is great and it makes things very handy, it also is a little bit messy, in my opinion. So what I'm doing here is I'm going through these patterns that I have printed. This is an alphabet that I use whenever I make alphabet letters for the grandkids. An apron, this is a Japanese style apron. It is what they call a Mobius loop apron, meaning if you start sewing it, there's no outside edge. It's all one edge. I'm going to make one of those here before too long. Panty liners. I don't make that pattern anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and take it off of this loop. And I'm putting it in my donation box, not in my garbage can. Chickens, I will keep. Birds that aren't chickens, a no-show slip sock. These are all patterns that I've printed out over the years from various places. And I'm going to move these into a different storage method. I'm going to put them in a notebook is what I'm going to do. But the first thing to do whenever you find something that isn't working for you is to go ahead and eliminate anything that you don't need. I don't need a pocket pattern anymore. I can draw those basically freehand. This is baby clothes, and I have got several in there that I've printed. Elephants that I've printed from various places. I use these for appliques on baby quilts, so I'll keep those. This is for the camper quilt. I have templates in here, and I have some leftover heat and bond that I used for that. I will probably remake this quilt. This is from Missouri Star. And then this is a hat pattern. I use the hat pattern fairly regularly, and this is for a baby size of it. I do have some other hat patterns somewhere, so I need to put all of that in one place. So what I'm going to do is I want to put these into leftover. And these were hanging up over on another portion of my cabinet, and they just bothered me there. I am a visual person, so I do like to be able to see stuff, but maybe not quite as visual as all this. So I'm going to get my hole punch, and I'm going to put a hole in all of these. And maybe that's the idea, is put all of them on one ring and then put them somewhere. So if you find something that isn't working for you in your sewing room, you should definitely reevaluate it. And I happen to have a couple of bigger book rings in here, so I'm going to use the bigger book ring. What I decided to do with these here is I had a couple of these large book rings, and I decided that these could all fit on one large book ring. And then I'm going to put them in my file cabinet like this, and make myself a note on my desktop or in my desktop folder that I use for patterns, which patterns are in this, and I'm going to name it Patterns in the File folder so that I know where I'll find it next time. That's a big thing with organization. If you're like me and you don't remember things unless you see them in front of you, you definitely want to make sure that if you store things somewhere, you keep track of where you've stored them. And you need to name it something that you're going to recognize again. So I could get all fancy and I could say, oh, printed patterns, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to work for me. I'm going to literally name this printed patterns stored in the file cabinet so that when I come back to it later, I can actually find the printed patterns that I've stored in my file cabinet. So that's one system that wasn't working for me. There are others in here that aren't necessarily perfect as far as what I wanted them to do for me. And you need to go back and reevaluate systems whenever you look at your craft room again. If you had a brilliant idea the last time you organized your craft room, and that brilliant idea didn't turn out to be so brilliant, your life easier, because it's not going to, if it doesn't work for you, it's not going to work long term. It may look great in Jane Doe's craft room, but if it doesn't work in Melissa's craft room, then it's not a great idea. You guys have a great day. Thank you for watching.